Now on KOAM News at 5, a judge unseals the 13-count indictment, revealing an alleged criminal enterprise that brought thousands of pounds of meth into Oklahoma and Missouri.
President Biden travels to Capitol Hill as his infrastructure agenda hangs in the balance. I'm Natalie Brand with how House Democrats are trying to strike a deal.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Miami police helped bust an alleged California drug kingpin accused of shipping thousands of pounds of meth to the 4-state area. This is KOAM News at 5. Luis Alfredo Jacobo is accused of running drug rings that brought around 2,000 pounds of meth to northern Oklahoma and southwest Missouri. Jacobo was arrested on Monday in Bakersfield, California, and one of the arresting officers is a member of the Miami Police Department. The Miami PD teamed up with police in Grove, the DEA, the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs, and many other investigative agencies to bring Jacobo and his conspirators to justice.
They started this case, worked it here, worked the case backwards up through the kingpin, if you will, and flew out there with the DEA task force and finished up their case.
9 other people were arrested with Jacobo on various drug conspiracy and criminal enterprise charges, including William Donovan Johnson III and Shawnee Brianne Callaghy of Grove and Kelly Wayne Bryan of Joplin. Doug Heddy joining us now. The first look at the forecast. Good ends to the work week for many of us.
Yeah, in the beginning of October, if you can believe that. It's crazy that we're in the last 3 months of the year of 2021. And again, we have scattered showers and thunderstorms out there. These are mainly on the Missouri side. Most of us have stayed dry throughout the daytime hours today, but we do have these scattered thunderstorms. These are really from Stockton Lake down toward Mount Vernon, Monette, a few in McDonald County, but I think this is good. I think most of us for high school football games this evening are going to be okay. We are going to have these hit and miss storms on the Missouri side. I do think they'll pick up a little bit late this evening, but I think it's going to be mainly after high school football. We'll get scattered showers and thunderstorms that we'll have to keep our eyes on. But of course, more rain for the weekend. I'll break that down for you here in just a bit.
Doug Heddy, thank you as always. The president's negotiating skills are put to the test as he heads to Capitol Hill today. Democrats in the White House say they're close to an agreement as talks continue on the massive reconciliation bill named the Build Back Better Act. But the party's split over the path forward has postponed a key vote on the bipartisan infrastructure bill, causing the furlough of thousands of transportation workers. Reporter Natalie Brand has more now from Capitol Hill.
Friday, President Biden travels to Capitol Hill in an attempt to bring Democrats across the finish line on his infrastructure agenda.
He believes it's the right time for him to go up there. These are his proposals. These are his bold ideas.
We are at the table to try to deliver both things, and I believe we will.
Earlier, House progressives struck an optimistic tone on negotiations after their opposition Thursday to moving forward on the Senate-passed bipartisan infrastructure bill without a path forward on the larger social spending bill.
We are still waiting for the details of Build Back that goes along with a bipartisan infrastructure, and you have unity around those two. We're in the middle of mashed potatoes or sausage making. That's what legislation is.
Republicans have been in lockstep opposition to the Democrats' Build Back Better Act, which funds the president's top agenda priorities, such as climate change, education, and health care. With a narrow majority in the House and a 50-50 Senate, Democrats cannot afford to lose support. Democratic Senators Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin signaled they're not on board with the current $3.5 trillion price tag. Senator Manchin has said his top line is $1.5 trillion. Meanwhile, the failure to pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill has caused a lapse in funding for some highway and transit programs, resulting in the furlough of nearly 4,000 workers. Lawmakers are working on a short-term fix if the bill remains stalled. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
U.S. Department of Transportation said in a statement they are taking steps to mitigate the impacts of the temporary lapse in funding, adding that payments to reimburse states' departments of transportation, transit agencies, and other grantees for existing grants can continue. 1 month after the nation's most restrictive abortion law took place in Texas, a federal judge is considering whether to block enforcement of it. The law bans abortions as early as 6 weeks before most women know they are pregnant, and it allows private citizens to sue people who help patients get an abortion. It's not immediately clear when the judge will issue a ruling, but he said he would give the matter, quote, careful consideration. New research is questioning the official record on the number of police killings in America. Researchers analyzed non-governmental databases going back 40 years and found there were nearly 31,000 total deaths from police violence, compared to the national government database showing 13,700, a discrepancy of more than 17,000 deaths. The research shows nearly 60% of those deaths are misclassified in the government database. Hawaii's Kailua volcano is erupting for the first time since May. The volcano began spewing lava at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park Wednesday afternoon. Officials say people living nearby on Hawaii's Big Island are not currently in danger from the eruption. The volcanic activity is entirely within the boundaries of the park, but the eruption could last months. Geologists are now closely monitoring the volcano for any further escalation. Coming up in Health Watch, a new experimental COVID-19 treatment.
A pill to fight COVID could be on the horizon. I'm Naomi Ruckham with the results of an experimental pill.
And later, new service standards at the U.S. Postal Service take effect today. We'll learn why the changes were made. Topping today's Health Watch, new research shows racial and ethnic disparities in survival among childhood cancer patients here in the U.S. A new study from the American Cancer Society looked at data on children newly diagnosed with cancer from 2004 to 2015. Black and Hispanic patients had worse survival for childhood cancers compared to white patients. Researchers say socioeconomic status and health insurance contribute to these disparities. Possible breakthrough in the treatment of COVID. Drug maker Merck says early results of an experimental COVID-19 pill are encouraging. Reporter Naomi Ruckham has the latest.
Pharmaceutical company Merck is reporting promising results with the experimental COVID-19 drug Molnupiravir. The drug company looked at 775 adults with mild to moderate COVID-19 at high risk for severe disease. The patients who received the antiviral pill took it within 5 days of symptoms.
They were given twice a day Molnupiravir and dramatically, by 50%, reduced hospitalization and death. So an oral pill that works against COVID-19 hospitalization.
Dr. David Agus is a CBS News medical contributor. He says the new pill could be a big step forward because current COVID-19 therapies in the U.S. for non-hospitalized patients require a trip to a medical facility.
We can start to prescribe it to patients rather than them having to come into an emergency room and be given intravenous therapy of an antibody or a shot of an antibody. They can get a pill. And so this certainly makes it much easier to treat. And in the end, will probably save many lives.
An independent group of experts recommended to stop Merck's trial because the results are so favorable. The company says it plans to submit its data for FDA review in the coming days. Other companies, such as Pfizer and Roche, are testing similar drugs that could also report results in the coming weeks. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Earlier results show the drug did not offer benefits for patients hospitalized with severe disease. First of its kind survey finds the COVID-19 pandemic has led to worse care and management of diabetes in the U.S. for those with COVID and without COVID infections. Researchers say the survey of nearly 800 people with type 1 and type 2 diabetes highlights the significant gaps in diabetes care and that people with the chronic health condition need more support. And weight loss should be the focus of managing type 2 diabetes, as according to a new paper published in The Lancet. Researchers say weight loss of 15% should be the main strategy for diabetes because it can slow progress of the disease and even reverse it in cases. That is a look at today's health news. A little later, the Miami High School band's giving a special performance for local healthcare employees.
And more scattered showers and thunderstorms heading into the weekend. I'll break that down for you coming up. Well, it turned out to be a decent Friday for us today. We still have some scattered showers and thunderstorms out there, but they aren't near as widespread as what we have seen over the past couple days. Most of these have been on the Missouri side, and this is good news because we have high school football tonight. We don't want the rain during football games, and we do have those scattered showers and thunderstorms across southwestern parts of Missouri, but I really think most of us in general are going to be fairly dry over the next few hours. So this is great that we can squeeze in these games, and then we'll get some pop-up thunderstorms a little bit later on tonight. As of right now, really from Stockton Lake, hit and miss once you go to Mount Vernon, Monette, down into eastern parts of McDonald County. So you can see this cluster north of Stockton Lake. Let's go a little bit farther south. So here's I-44, here's Mount Vernon, here's eastern Newton County, a little thunder shower just to the northeast of Granby, just to the west of Monette. A couple little guys right along the county line of Newton and also McDonald County, and then we can see a few more once you get over toward Table Rock. But in general, most of us look pretty good right now. So let's go through time. Here's 8:30. So this is halfway through most of the games. You can see these hit and miss storms. So if there's any rain delays or lightning delays with any games tonight, they should be short-lived. And if you are going to a game on the Kansas or the Oklahoma side, I think you're going to be fine. But we're going to have these hit and miss storms for us during the overnight hours tonight, kind of picking up late evening. So after any football games, especially on the Missouri side, we'll have these hit and miss scattered storms. Here's 3 a.m. and then into tomorrow morning. Then we'll get a little bit of a break, and then a bigger batch is going to roll in during the daytime hours tomorrow. All right, outside right now, most of us upper 70s to near 80, so it feels good. It's nice and comfortable. We have a lot of clouds. We're looking north along range line. Currently sitting at 78. The winds are pretty much calm. Humidity kind of high, sitting at 68%. Through the evening hours, we slide back through the 70s and then eventually mid 60s later on tonight. So it's going to feel good for us through the overnight hours. So again, through the evening hours, most of these storms kind of on the Missouri side, but they'll kind of flare up a little bit late this evening into the overnight hours for us tonight. But this is all caused by this upper level low. You can see showers and thunderstorms. This wave will start to affect us tomorrow. You can see the spin northeastern parts of New Mexico, which is going to pass on by through the daytime hours tomorrow, and that's going to up our chances for showers and thunderstorms as we go through the daytime hours for us tomorrow. So hit and miss storms for us tonight. I'd say 60% of us stay dry. Let's go into the daytime hours tomorrow. Here's 11:30 a.m. Scattered thunderstorms start to pick up on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side. And these are still going to be scattered, but they're going to be pretty widespread as we go through the afternoon. There's 3:30 in the afternoon, scattered showers and thunderstorms. I think temperature is very similar to what we are seeing today, into the upper 70s. But once we get past that batch of showers and thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon, then we look pretty good. We get a nice stretch of really good weather. So 79 tomorrow, scattered storms. We'll look at Sunday, Monday, all the way through next week. Mainly dry, temperatures upper 70s to lower 80s.
Loving this weather. I mean, really no complaints.
The nights are very comfortable. Yeah. I mean, down into the 50s. Yeah, no complaints at all.
Awesome. Doug, Katie, thank you so much. Hey, the Miami, Oklahoma High School band today boosted the spirits of the frontline heroes over at Integris Hospital. The band gave a special performance to workers to honor their tireless efforts providing care during this pandemic. One band member says it's nice to give back
because they've pretty much done the most they've taken care of us and they have supported us, and we're just thankful for them doing our jobs and keeping us healthy.
The Miami band performed at the south entrance Circle Drive of the hospital. Coming up, why the U.S. Postal Service is slowing down some deliveries, but first we pause to honor a local veteran. Charles Bevins served in the U.S. Army Air Corps from 1942 to 45. The Parsons, Kansas native was stationed in England, and we salute Staff Sergeant Charles Bevins, a four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, Americans loosened their wallets for the back-to-school season. According to the Commerce Department, personal spending rose 0.8% in August. That was more than expected. The rise in spending came as more students returned to in-person learning. Personal incomes also rose 0.2%. A breach at Neiman Marcus. The luxury department store chain says millions of customer accounts may have been hacked. The retailer is now notifying 4.6 million people that information like payment cards, usernames, passwords, contact information may have been exposed in May of 2020. Your mail could take longer to reach you under a new plan that takes effect today. The Postmaster General is slowing down some deliveries and raising prices. He wants to balance the Postal Service budget. As Earl Barnett reports, critics say it's going to cause some serious damage.
I've been coming up here every week asking where's my mail.
Marissa Taylor relies on the post office to deliver her paychecks that she uses to take care of her 2 siblings with special needs.
They keep giving me the same answer, which is, oh, you have a new driver, it'll be out today. You don't get mail that day.
Taylor went without mail for days over the summer, and new changes from the U.S. Postal Service mean more delays could be in her future. In March, Postmaster General Louis DeJoy announced a new 10-year plan that promises to cut debt and modernize the agency.
We haven't been funded in 10 years. You can't pass any legislation. Can't pass any legislation that helps. If I could just finish this point.
But it comes at a cost. Almost 40% of first-class mail could take up to 5 days to arrive instead of up to 3 days. And sending holiday cheer will be pricier as well, with postage rates increasing up to $5 more per package until December 26th.
I see a bright future ahead for the Postal Service.
DeJoy has been a controversial head of the Postal Service since June of 2020. Before the election, the former businessman and top GOP donor made changes to the service, including removing mailboxes. Many rallied nationwide against what they saw as voter suppression. And earlier this year, 21 state attorneys general asked the Postal Regulatory Commission to reject the new plan, saying it could disproportionately impact elderly and rural residents, as well as individuals with disabilities.
These cuts, plain and simple, are illegal.
Now, we should also highlight that many Americans rely on this service for the delivery of their medicines. CBS News spoke with one man who's already experienced delays in receiving his heart and behavioral medications, and he's now concerned that will happen more often. If you're also worried, the general advice is to send things a few days early or consider another service. Errol Barnett, CBS News, Washington.
Starting today, current and prospective college students can apply for aid using the free application for federal student aid. FAFSA gives students access to educational loans, but also a crack at grants and scholarships for the 2022 through 2023 school year. The earlier people apply, the better, because funds are distributed on a first-come, first-served basis. And don't bring home the bacon. The price of the breakfast time staple has spiked 28% in the last year alone. It now costs its highest in 40 years. According to the Consumer Price Index, the average price of a pound of bacon was $7.10 in August. Now, what's to blame? Lower pork production and monopolies within the meat industry. Final check of the forecast next. CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, going to have more on how Miami police helped take down an alleged criminal enterprise shipping thousands of pounds of meth into the area. Plus, authorities in Crawford County, Kansas released more details about a police chase that happened yesterday. And the city of Joplin celebrates the retirement of its assistant city manager. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. All right, check this video out. Crocodile leapt out of the waters and sunk its teeth on a low-flying drone at a wildlife park in Darwin, Australia. Australian Broadcasting Corporation camera operator Dane Hurst was flying a drone at Crocodilus Park as part of a documentary on the 50th anniversary of the ban on crocodile hunting in the Northern Territory. And one of the reptiles, as we're seeing, lunged out of the water, bit the drone. Fortunately, the damaged drone was found by park staff members on the bank of the lagoon 2 weeks later, and the memory card was recovered to tell the tale.
The lesson here is don't tease a crocodile.
Don't do anything with a crocodile, in my opinion. You know, that's me anyway. Final check of the forecast, Doug.
All right, scattered showers and thunderstorms through the evening hours, but I think most of the high school football games look okay. They'll pick up a little bit late this evening, and then scattered thunderstorms again for us tomorrow, especially late morning into the early afternoon hours. But look at the stretch after that. We get pretty nice weather, upper 70s, lower 80s, most of next week.
Just let the crocodile do its thing, and you do your thing.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. We'll see you then.